Morning everybody, Ken Feekins from Ken Feekins Personal Training. Welcome to this week's Technique Tuesday. Today we're going to focus on the lunge and three different aspects of the lunge. So first we're going to look at direction of the hips. We're also going to look at transfer of energy and where my focus should be throughout the movement and the position of the torso through the movement. So direction of the hips. Oftentimes when we're watching people lunging, we're seeing a real forward kind of energy motion happening here, and the hips are not going straight down, they're actually coming forward with that knee, right? So when I'm initially beginning the lunge, I want to focus on good mechanics, okay? So take the step out of it to begin with, get yourself in the long position, and practice just moving the hips straight up and down in that lunge position, okay? So number one, that takes a heck of a lot of pressure off the knee. As soon as I start coming forward, the energy goes and the weight goes to the front of my foot, takes a lot of the focus off the back of the leg, which is my prime movers, by the way. Hamstrings and glutes are prime movers in the lunge. So always remembering that is a really good trick too, knowing what muscles I'm supposed to be using mainly. So going forward on the foot puts a heck of a lot of pressure on the knee, takes the focus off the hamstrings and glutes, and puts a lot of added pressure, and all the work sort of goes to the quad when it comes to the muscles. And if the other muscles aren't on, then the rest of the load goes to the joint. So we want to make sure that we're practicing in a stationary lunge to begin with and dropping the hips straight down. Try to keep a shin that's fairly straight up and down, at least to begin with, okay? The focus should be in the back 3/4 of that front foot as far as weight distribution, okay? So the foot should be flat always, but if I asked you to, you should be able to wiggle your toes. So I think about pushing my heel and the balls of my feet into the ground and keeping that heel pressed into the ground the entire time and coming up. And I can already feel the difference between that forward lunge and that straight up and down lunge in the back of my leg. Pushing the heel into the ground helps engage the glute and helps engage the hamstring as well. I try to maintain that tension throughout the whole movement, okay? So that's tip number one, heel down, glute hamstring engaged, hips moving straight up and down. So the next thing that I want to talk about is the position of the torso. So if you noticed, my torso is actually slightly leaned forward. Oftentimes you see people doing lunges with a nice straight up and down back, and keep your back straight is not bad advice. But if you look at me from this side, and you look at that back leg, and you watch me with the straight up and down leg, so oftentimes you see people with a real long lunge, so that's creating a pinch in that SI joint area. So we want to reduce that by leaning slightly forward with the torso. Does a few things. One, engages the core so I don't fall all the way forward. Two, stretches out that glute on that working leg, which helps activate it through the movement as well. So shoulders back and down, gut on, slight lean forward. Not exaggerated like this, but just a slight lean forward on the torso to help engage everything and take the pressure off that SI joint. So hips straight up and down, heel in the ground, squeeze your glute, lean yourself a little bit forward. If you have trouble turning on the posterior chain, so your hamstrings and glutes through this movement, which I really did, one trick that really helped me through the movement was putting my hand right where my hamstring meets my glute. Putting it right there and push my heel into the ground right here, I can feel that turn on with my hand. And if I can maintain that throughout the movement, then I'm golden. Have a good day, guys. I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any other questions, or if you want any tips on any sort of other exercises that perhaps maybe you're struggling with or don't feel like you're getting the most